What a difference a week makes. 7 days ago, Washington was in a fierce debate over potential military action. Should we take it? And today we're talking about an agreement for Syria to hand over all of its chemical weapons. They hadn't even admitted that they had chemical weapons. So, first of all, Fuad Ajami, I can't believe that I messed up your name. I said I've been saying your name for like 5 weeks, and we've been covering this. Really, for 7 years I've been saying your name here on CNN, so pardon me again. Are you confident about this agreement?
No, I actually had a long piece in the Wall Street Journal a couple of days ago, and I heaped scorn on this agreement.
Why?
Because I think, you can defer things. You can say, well, we're not going to do it now. It will be done later. Everything that Bashar al-Assad has agreed to is completely bogus, in my opinion. And the idea that we're going to, by mid-November, we'll have...
Wait, Seme, what do you mean that everything he's agreed to is completely bogus? What is bogus about it?
The whole thing is not about chemical weapons. There's a town on the outskirts of Damascus that Bashar is killing by starving it, by denying it food supplies, by denying it access to the world outside. This idea that it's all about chemical weapons, this is really about saving our own president's reputation. So now we say, all right, we're going to have an accounting of Bashar al-Assad's chemical weapon by mid-November. And then we're going to disarm him of these weapons by mid-2014. The war goes on, the killing goes on, the things that people like Senator McCain and Senator Graham are concerned about, the idea that there is a war and that in many ways we have given Bashar a reprieve.
So you think this is more about the U.S., more about the administration and our president than the people of Syria? You think that this agreement just overlooks the people of Syria?
Listen, if you now listen to the Syrian rebellion and its leaders, General Idris, who is the most credible of the military commanders of the rebellion, this is a disaster for them. We led them to believe that we're coming. We led them to believe that we were going to...
But how is removing chemical weapons a disaster? You don't believe it's going to happen?
It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, I think if we know something, and Joe Johns was right when he talked about Saddam, if you go back to Iraq and you see what exactly can a regime secretive, in the case of both Saddam and Bashar al-Assad, we're not going to have access to these people's chemical weapons. We're not going to find them all, track them down, and disarm the regime. Yeah. And as I said, to me, it's not really about chemical weapons. It's about the Syrian rebellion, and it's about the war that Bashar al-Assad is waging against his people.
Are you saying it's smoke and mirrors?
It's not smoke and mirrors. It's just, I think, let's remember one thing. On Monday, our Secretary of State threw away this line. We could spare, Bashar could spare himself a strike if he were to rid himself of his chemical weapons. This was Monday. Here we are, Saturday, and we are hailing this as being the great breakthrough. It's a great breakthrough if you don't want to hold Bashar al-Assad responsible for the bloodshed.
Colonel, I want to go to you because I have plenty of questions for you and I had other questions for you, but I want you to respond to what he said. Do you agree with Fuad Ajami here that this is really about the reputation of the president and not about the people of Syria, saving them from their own government?
Yeah, I do agree. And I'm sure Fuad is reading the Syrian press, and I've read a lot of it the last couple of days. They are pillaring this agreement. They believe they've been just let loose. They said it's okay if you kill us as long as you don't do it with chemical weapons, and that's a shame. So what Bashar has done and buy himself some time. We've yet to hear from the Syrians. We've said he would like these Israelis to sign the same agreement. He'd like us to commit that we're not going to continue to support the rebels, which is not going to happen. I think this is just another way to push this down the road so he survives yet a few more days. And as far as getting the chemicals, I don't think we're going to be able to do it because they're not where they were 10 days ago. And we've seen a lot of flight activity all over Syria and between Syria and Iran. We don't know what's on those airplanes. We don't know where the chemicals are. And who are we going to believe? We're going to believe a Syrian declaration. We're going to believe a Russian declaration. And our intelligence in this area is not that great.
I want to stick with this a little bit of this agreement, and then we'll talk about the flights that we have been seeing, because we have a whole lot this hour to talk about. But Colonel Francona, I mean, what do you say? I mean, is this agreement going to make a difference, or are we going to find ourselves in a new standoff not long from now if we go with this agreement?
It's already made a difference. You see, we've seen a tremendous uptick in the amount of violence that's going on inside the country because the Syrians believe they've dodged a bullet, and they are going after the rebels with ferocity I haven't seen in months. We had an increase in airstrikes. There's all kind of movement on the ground, and the rebels are trying to fight back, but they're reeling. They feel they've been abandoned. So things have changed on the ground.
All right, Kwana, Colonel and Fawad, thank you. Stand by. We'll get back to both of you.